Welcome to a new edition of the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino. On this episode, we talk with podcast host, therapist, and life coach for Midlife women, Elizabeth Cush. She is a licensed clinical professional counselor, a women's life coach, and business owner in Annapolis, Maryland. She also is the host of Awaken Your Wise Woman podcast. As a coach, she helps midlife women who feel overwhelmed and unfulfilled embrace and embody their inner wise woman so that they can fully enjoy the beautiful life they've created. It's a great interview. Enjoy.
Thank you again for taking a minute out. And before we get into your life as a coach, I want to know, we went through quite a thing with COVID the last 3 years. All of us have gone through our own set of struggles and everything that we went through, and even silver linings. So how did you survive that time period? How has it changed the way that you both live your life and conduct business now?
So I am not only a life coach, but I'm also a therapist, a mental health therapist. And so I was seeing all my clients in person, pretty much. I had a couple clients that were virtual, but so I had to quickly pivot to doing all online therapy. And so fortunately, I had the infrastructure in place with the health record system that I used, had a video component to it, so that part was relatively easy. But the transition from going into an office, I shared office space with two other women, to not seeing them anymore, to working out of my house, trying to find space that would work to be private, and it was an adjustment. It was definitely it took probably a couple of months before it really felt like I had it kind of down pat, where I was comfortable with where my office was set up and kind of knew my new routine. But definitely, as a therapist and a life coach, when you're working one-on-one with people, to go from being able to see people in person and interact with people, on the daily outside of work, but that just stopped. And so it can be a relatively lonely practice when you're not doing anything other than connecting with people online.
But you had to have seen a huge uptick in your business because of what happened, I would imagine.
Huge. It was hard to say no to people that were looking for help because, as you know, it impacted all of us in a lot of pretty significant mental health ways. And, so I was very busy. And again, like I said, it was hard to say no. So that also led to me figuring out how to best take care of myself when other people were so in such great need. And that took some time too, figuring out how to take care of me and take care of them at the same time.
So let's kind of get really to the essence of what you do on a daily basis. And I'm going to hypothetically put you in front of a bunch of third grade students at a career day, and you're going to be asked the question, what do you do for a living? How would you answer that child?
Yeah, I would say I help people move from feeling stressed out, maybe anxious, overwhelmed, to a place of ease and calm. I just help them live their lives in more easy, productive ways. That would be how I summarize both the life coaching as well as my therapy practice. And obviously with therapy, there can be greater challenges for the people because it's really the mental health stuff is impacting their day-to-day living. Where with life coaching, I'm really helping women. I'm specifically a life coach for highly sensitive women, so helping women better understand their high sensitivity traits and how to really take care of themselves on the day-to-day so they don't end up every day feeling overwhelmed and burnt out.
So when you were in the third grade, what was your dream? What did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a mom. There was the longest time where all I wanted to do was to become a mother, and I did get that dream realized. I'm a mom to 3 grown young men who are thriving and doing well in the world. But as I got older and had my own children and actually realized the challenge of parenting in a healthy way, I stepped my toe into psychology and got really interested in child development, and that sparked my interest to become a therapist. And I also personally experienced some pretty significant trauma as a child, so I knew I wanted to be prepared to be able to take care of my kids in a healthy, safe way and parent in a way that would support them no matter what happened to them.
So obviously your profession requires you to give a lot of yourself. So let's go back to your childhood. Tell me a little bit about where you were born and raised and how some of these seeds were planted that grew into who you are today.
Yeah, so I grew up in I would say, upper middle class family in the Philadelphia area, so Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. My dad was a physician, an MD. My mom was a homemaker for a good part of my life. Both my parents, love them to death, but neither of them were very emotionally attuned because of how they were raised. So I was one of 4. I'm the third of 4 children. And I think I got to spend a lot of time figuring out how I was feeling by myself and figuring out how to manage that on my own. And that impacted me in a lot of different ways, in that I really had to figure out how to take care of myself. And sometimes I did a good job at that, and sometimes not so great. I know that it was hard for me. High school was a really hard time for me. My parents divorced, so that was tough. And with their divorce, I definitely needed some help that I wasn't getting because my parents were kind of wrapped up in what was happening for them. And that was really hard. So I had a bout of, using substances when I probably shouldn't have been, but came through it with the help of a really good therapist in high school, which I think sparked the initial seed of wanting to be able to help others.
In your life, as we're kind of figuring things out, we all need strong people around us. Who was somebody that was a role model or a hero in your life that helped you out?
I would say this therapist who really helped me work through some really pretty tough times when I was a teenager. Moving forward, my sister has always been she's a couple years older than I am. She's always been a really great support for me. Later years, my mom, who, in all of, as hard as it was being a kid, she was a good mom. She did the best that she could. But I would say, today, it's other women who have been through tough times and really made it to the other side that have been my inspiration. So I love reading memoirs and hearing about other people's stories of struggle and survival and thriving. So that also has been helpful for me.
If you can meet anybody alive on the planet right now and spend a little time with them, who would you love to meet and talk to?
Boy, that's a great question. Well, I'd love to meet Michelle Obama. I think she's an inspiration and an amazingly strong woman. I think I'd like to meet Jimmy Carter. He seems like such a nice gentleman and such a smart, soulful man that I think I would love to have a meet and greet with him if that were ever possible. Too funny.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, no, those are great. Those are great people. What is it for you? Whenever we start our days, we get up out of bed, we start moving, we have things that we want to do with our days. What is the ultimate motivator for you? What gets you through the day and to ultimately accomplish what you want to do?
Well, I have a really beautiful life right now. So, as I said, my children have grown up and moved on. You know, they're living their lives outside of my home. But we love to gather and get together. My husband is great. I have an amazing dog named Elvis, and he gets me out of bed. But just, I enjoy life. I look forward to my day of working with my clients. That really fulfills me on so many levels, but I also just appreciate that I have worked hard, but also been given this life to really appreciate the natural world around me, and I am lucky enough and fortunate enough to get to spend time at the beach and in nature, which really fills me up.
So let's go to the end of that proverbial day. How do you look back on your day and say that was a good day? How do you quantify it as being a good day?
Yeah, that's funny. Somebody asked me about, like, what fills you, you know, what really helps you feel full, like you're doing a good job as a therapist and a life coach. But to me, if I come away from a day of working with clients and I feel as if our work together, for the majority, our work together with those clients has made a difference in their life, that they are able to hold their struggles with compassion and care and kindness, that to me is the ultimate goal of the work that I do. Because we all struggle, we all have really hard times in our lives, and it's really easy to turn on yourself in those moments. And if we can hold that struggle with love and compassion and care, like that to me is, that can make all the difference.
I agree. Let's say you have a dream tonight and you run into, say, the 20-year-old version of yourself. And based on the life you've led, the wisdom you've gained, you could give that younger version of you a piece of advice. What advice would you give your younger version?
I would tell her that as hard as it feels right now, it's going to get better. And that it will, I guess I would just want her to know the amazing woman she's going to grow into. That her strength and her perseverance is really going to get us to where we are today. And that even though it doesn't feel like that's happening in the moment, that it's going to happen.
So of all of the work and the clients you've had over the years, what has been one of the best client success stories or fan letters you've gotten?
I don't know. That's a good question, because oftentimes especially with therapy clients, they tend to, you know, when they're feeling better, they've moved on, and maybe that's the best thing, that I don't ever hear from them again, because they have done the healing they need to do, and they've gone off and are living their lives in the best way they can. But I guess just even in the moment within the work, if someone says to me, you know, this really made a difference. Like the work that I've done has helped me approach this situation, whatever it might have been, something that maybe triggered some, you know, vulnerable parts in them, that they can say, like, the work we've done helped me get through that. And that's it. That's right. That's it right there.
Wonderful. So in your life, of all the things you've accomplished up to this point, what are you the proudest of?
I am so proud of myself for building my business, because I'm in private practice as a therapist. I have my podcast as well. And I built this coaching business through the pandemic as well. And I guess I'm just really proud of myself for sticking with it when maybe there were people in my life that weren't quite as sure that I could do it, and I did it anyway. And I'm really proud of the kids that I raised, I must say. I am so proud of my boys. They are my men. They are beautiful human beings, and just really proud of the job that my husband and I did in raising them.
Wonderful. So everyone out there has a perception of you. You have different bubbles of people that exist in your world. Family, friends, clients, colleagues, but ultimately you live your life. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I like to think of myself as I'm going to use the same words I used a little while ago, but just a kind, compassionate person who will meet you where you are no matter what is going on in your life. That I am a person that can, show up for you if you're struggling, showing up for you if you're celebrating, that I am there for you no matter what's happening for you in your life.
So let me ask you this. Anyone out there that wants to learn more about you, your business, anything related to your services, where's the best place for them to go?
So you can find me at, I'm on Instagram at Awaken Your Wise Woman. You can also find my coaching website at elizabethcushcoaching.com, and that houses my blog, my website, obviously, the podcast, and any other free offers. Like I have some writing prompts that you can get for free there too. And if you're interested in therapy with me, I'm licensed in Maryland and Delaware and soon to be Florida. So you can reach out to me for those services at progressioncounseling.com.
Excellent. Elizabeth, thank you for taking time out, sharing your story with my audience. I really appreciate your time. Best of luck with everything.
All right. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
Thanks for tuning in to another famous interview with Joe Dimino, where we cover the world of art, literature, business, spirituality, music, and more from around the globe. If you want to hear more interviews, visit the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino channel on YouTube. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thanks again for listening, and until next time.